to the UN Association. And by then it was about $800, so we thought, well, we can kick in $200. We made it an even $1,000 with our own donation and thought, the original donors wanted it to go to a Syrian family, but they were very flexible. You heard Judge Jenkins mention the refugee graduation that was here last month with IRC. And we used that $1,000 to give each of those 10 students a $100 bill as a graduation present, and along with the other things they got for their academic scholarships. Okay. So I have to turn the page. So if you're interested in trying to participate in that scholarship fund, we can be working on that and see if we can get it to just go larger, right? So the directory. This is what allows you to contact the agencies easily. And if you're online, you can click directly into their websites. And I don't need to tell you too much about these because it has already been done. So you have a few categories in order of priority. The highest priority is resettlement. So that's really what it was originally designed for in 1998, and then we kept adding. And when Human Rights Initiative was formed, they went right onto that volunteer guide. We created a asylum and human righs, and the Catholic Charities Immigration and Legal Services is on that too. By the way, I don't see Vanna anymore, but an example of an update, we update this regularly. When she went to the Office of Welcoming Communities and Immigrant Affairs, we updated that guide because she had been the director. And so now they have a new director. Then we have, after that, we have some medical, social, and mental health services. We do have a Center for Survivors of Torture. It's unfortunate that they need it, but we do have that. Cut. Actually, I'm cutting this whole page. I love this. They answered so much, but I don't have to do it. Okay. So the other thing I would like to mention, and it is an acknowledgement and thanks to Judge Jenkins' office, Mayor Rawlings' office, and the Dallas Public Library. They have all linked to this, and anyone is welcome to link to it. They've put the directory on their website, and also given the link so that you can go right to it. But I need to send them updates because what you see on the webpage does not match what I update regularly. So that is your really quick tour of the volunteer guide, and accessing it digitally is the way to go. I no longer make copies of this. It kills trees and my budget. And so I would like to close before bringing back Reverend Folgerth to give us a closing call to action and prayer. I would just really like to welcome everyone to stay if you can and visit all of these exhibitors who are here. Learn more about them if you did not get a chance to do that in the earlier part of the program. And we just really thank you for being here to listen, to take action, and that's what I'm going to ask Reverend Folgerth to come inspire us to take that action.
Thank you to everyone for coming today, and thank you to all those who put this event together. It's been wonderful and marvelous. And I just want to say a few things as a call to action to try to inspire you. We've talked about the airport several times, and it really was a powerful experience for me personally. And so let me tell you a story that happened to me while I was out there. I was there for 6-7 hours on Saturday. I don't know, I lost track of time. Left at about 1:30, 2 in the morning. And for hours, Judge Jenkins was a few people from me. There were thousands of people. It was very positive. The lawyers started showing up, always a good sign. I'm married to one, so I can say that. But there was a young woman standing next to me who I hadn't bothered to get to know. And so I turned to her and I said, well, hi, I'm Eric. How are you? And she said her name was Elnis. And she said, my family is one of the families that's back there behind the door. And I thought, wow, what luck. Of the 1,000 people, I'm standing right next to one of the people we're here for. And so Elnis, maybe you heard her story or know her, she is a graduate student at SMU in physics, I believe. Her family was coming over for a visit or detained. And I'll never forget, she had a little American flag that the flight was supposed to come in at 10 in the morning. And this was probably 10 or 11 at night when we were having this conversation. And the flag was rolled up and had been rolled up for hours. And you could see the sadness on her face, you know, what's happening, what's going to happen. And finally, about, I think 1 in the morning, people told her they're probably not going to get out tonight. Maybe tomorrow, but probably not tonight. And so she decided to go home, take a shower, get some sleep, come back the next day. And so it just broke my heart. I just broke my heart to watch her having to leave with no answer. And I gave her a hug, and I said to her, I'm really sorry. This is not who we are. This is not who we are as a nation. I don't know why this is happening either, but this is not who we are. And I wish Judge Jenkins had stayed, because the next day, as you may know, her family got out. Judge Jenkins and our mayor, God bless them, met them with roses. And I happened to hear on the video, he said the same thing to her. We're so sorry. This is not who we are. I know that each and every one of you in this room knows that. Yes, that travel ban is not who we are. Islamophobia is not who we are. The racism and fear of the other is not who we are as Americans. It's not. We're better than that. We, each of us, have an immigrant story. So a few things to say to you. First, get to know your own immigrant story. Almost all of us have one. Mine goes back to the middle 1700s. A young man coming from the Rhineland in Germany named Christoffel Volkart got off a boat in Philadelphia in 1754. They immediately changed his name to Christopher Volkart. Everybody with this last name is related to that guy. He disappears from the records for 7 years. It's commonly believed he was probably an indentured servant for 7 years. So I have an immigrant story. I have very likely he was fleeing from war in his home country. You have an immigrant story. Know it and share it and speak it to people. Your faith has a story about welcoming the stranger. Whatever faith you profess, get to know that and speak that story as well. We are better than the worst parts of our country that we are seeing today. What makes America great is all of you and immigrants and all those groups out there in the hall. That's what makes us great, that we are welcoming people. Whether we are faith-based or people of no faith, that in each generation we open our doors to those from the outside. So find a way to tell your story, whatever that story is. Find a way to get involved in all these wonderful groups. For those who might be listening later, find a way to get involved in your community, or get the volunteer guide and get involved in our community, because you absolutely can make a difference. And now I'd invite you to a short time of prayer. Let's pray. Gracious and loving God, we are not the worst of who we are as a nation. We can be better than we often feel these days. We are not the xenophobia that we hear from our leaders, the Islamophobia. We are not the fear-mongering. We are an immigrant people. We were founded by refugees, God, and so pull us back to that better nature. Stir each of our hearts that we might welcome those who come in our generations. That we might show the kind of welcome that you challenge us all to not only care for our own biological families, our own faith communities, but to those who come as strangers among us, seeking only the chance to make it here. In your holy and gracious name we pray.